Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is this is number 13. Okay, here is the equation that you had in number 13. When you go ahead and put it into standard form, if you eliminate the xy, put it into standard form, then you get something that looks like this. Okay. So after doing all of the algebra, this is what you end up getting, all right? From here, okay, we have no idea where to go to graph. So what we did in number 13 is you got a rotation angle of what? What was the angle in number 13? Pi over 4. Okay, so that means we took this ellipse right here and we rotated it pi over 4. Okay, so okay, I just drew this axis at a 45-degree angle because that's my angle of rotation. Okay, so this right here is pi over 4. Okay, so we rotated pi over 4. So this is now the x prime axis, and this now is the y prime axis. Okay, so now to graph this equation here, I have it in terms of x prime and y prime. Okay, now we're going to use this to help us graph. All right, so this ellipse right here, where's the center? 0, 0. Okay, what's A? A is radical 6, right? This is A squared, so A would be radical 6. So these vertices are radical 6 away from our center, but along the x prime axis. Okay? What is B? Okay? Radical 3/2, right? So those points are radical 3/2 away from the center along the y prime axis. Okay. So in order to graph these, what you're going to do is you're going to draw a new set of axes based on whatever rotation you have. Okay. So for instance, in number 15, what is our angle? Pi over 3. So you have your xy plane. We need to rotate this 30 degrees, or pi over 3, 60 degrees, right? Does that look like 60 degrees? Good enough? Okay. So here I've taken our axes, I've rotated them 60 degrees. So here is now our x prime and our y prime axis. And now you're going to graph on the blue. Okay. In my opinion, I would plot the x prime and y prime axes, and then I would turn my paper so that I was looking at those with y prime facing north. Okay, I can't turn my board for you, okay, but I think it would be easier to look at this where y prime is going straight north. Okay, so I would turn my paper. So then let's just talk about number 15's graph, and then I want you to graph it for me, okay? In relation to the x prime and y prime axis, which direction is this opening? Okay, it'd be opening to the left. Okay, first of all, y is the one that's squared, so it has to be opening right or left. That's the awkward one for us. Okay, since it's negative, it's going to be opening left. So if we're looking at the x prime, y prime axis, left would be here. Okay. Being able to graph these, is it easier to see why we're doing this? Okay, so what I want you to do is everybody is going to graph y prime squared equals negative x prime. Okay, everybody graph it on their paper, and then we will talk about it up here all together. Okay, this is part of your homework. Okay, let's talk about this. Where's our vertex? Our vertex is at 0, 0, and we talked about that it's opening left. Now, let's recall how we graph a parabola in this conic section. What number do we need to identify? P. What is P? It is not negative. Okay, remember whatever the coefficient is 4p. Okay, so that means we have a directrix. Well, that means our focus is 1/4 to the inside of our parabola, and our directrix is 1/4 to the outside of our parabola. Okay, how did we plot a point or two? Okay, we go to the focus and we go out double P. Okay, now, if doing this on graph paper makes you uncomfortable, you can do it on a regular piece of paper. You can't use the grid lines for X, Y anymore. Those do not count the number of spaces for you anymore because we've been rotated. Okay, so if you don't want to do this on graph paper, it may be easier for you. Okay, but basically, okay, once we have it in terms of x prime and y prime, we're going to draw our x prime and y prime axis and graph it there. Okay, like this coordinate on the x prime, y prime, like our focus is negative 1/4, 0 on the x prime, y prime axis, but that is not what the coordinate would be in the coordinate plane. Do you see that? If we're looking at the x and y axis, that's not that coordinate. So where all of our coordinates are going to be in relation to the x prime and y prime axis. All right. That way, okay, it's easier for us to graph. Okay, like this one. Graphing this ellipse without having that x prime, y prime axis would be very, very difficult. Okay. All right. Any questions? Oh, that's